All right, I have to thank Roland Martin. I take a lot of the stories I do off of his show, and I also use various other sources of information when I post my videos. This particular one, I got to figure out what I'm going to title it, but the essence of it is, has Donald Trump, or is this Donald Trump's new America, or is this the America that's always been here, and Donald Trump basically has given permission to take the sheets off and to expose it for what it really is? This particular clip is going to be a bit long, but it's going to reference the spike in reported hate crimes. Hate crimes have been going on for a long time. It's just that they, up until recently, haven't been reported as much as they actually occur. You're going to get some statistics for the spike in hate crimes from 2015. And as Roland is going to say, and Sean King, I really want to see the number of hate crimes, or the increase in the hate crimes subsequent to Donald Trump actually winning the election, because I believe that that number has gone up dramatically. I base that on the fact that the state of New York has opened up a special division just for the reporting and investigation of hate crimes. Here we go.
The FBI recently released the latest stats on hate crimes, which include crimes against persons and property. In 2015, hate crimes went up by more than 6%, mostly due to crimes against Muslims. 59% of the victims were targeted because of race and ethnicity. Nearly half of the offenders were white, while a quarter of them were black. The spike in hate incidents coincides with the heated rhetoric of the presidential race and the election of Donald Trump, and is happening all over the country. In Bismarck, North Dakota, masked white men terrorized Native Americans who had protested the Dakota Access Pipeline construction. It took place outside of a hotel. Two men from the Standing Rock tribe were blocked inside a parking lot as several men approached their car. Okay, here's that video, folks. The passenger in the car posted this encounter live on his Facebook page.
Take your protesting asses back home.
Oh, dude, I got nothing to do with this.
Take your protesting asses back home.
Let's just go. Let's go.
Yeah, go ahead, turn your phone on.
Go.
Ahead.
Let's go.
Turn it on.
Go, turn around.
You motherfucking protesters, go! People are gonna you up.
Go.
Every one of you.
Matt, just go.
I can't.
Now, that particular video went pretty much viral, but Roland's going to play another video of a person that was outside of the car who actually filmed this.
In charge, Jesse McClain, with 2 counts of terrorizing. It is unclear whether he was one of the drivers or one of the masked men yelling in the video. Joining us on the phone from New York is Sean King, senior justice writer for the New York Daily News. Here on our panel, Rena Shah-Barat, Greg Carr, and Spencer Overton. Sean, I want to go to you first, because when we talk about what is going on here across this country, and first of all, while I am talking to you, I'm also going to play some video that was shot by another hotel guest of that encounter. The video we just saw in North Dakota was inside of the car. This will be video that took place outside of the car as well. And we'll just simply keep the sound down. Keep the sound down, folks, because of language that was used. Sean, so we talk about these incidents. The reality is that folks have been emboldened with the election of Donald Trump.
Oh, absolutely, man. And when I saw these videos, I was so disgusted. You know, I'm thankful for the video that you're showing now shows a hotel guest who saw what happened and was frightened himself, but he was more disturbed at what was happening to the 2 Native American brothers in the car. So he came out there and tried to interrupt it, and in essence kind of helped scare these men away. And then he went back into the hotel lobby to tell security there, like, hey, there's a hate crime that just took place. And even the hotel staff were not really, interested in listening to what happened. But we're seeing this happen all across the country.
Notice he said that the hotel staff wasn't even interested in the protection of their guests. Okay, they weren't interested in what was going on. Now, it's been reported that the two individuals who were masked, one had that skeleton mask and one had another mask. It's been reported based on capturing the license plate number of this vehicle that they arrested the two individuals, and I'm not exactly sure of what they've been charged with, but if they haven't been charged with at least intimidation and some type of hate crime, then something is wrong here. But it just shows that these two guys, and I understand it's cold out there, but they covered up their faces because they didn't want to be identified. They're cowards, basically. And they were trying to intimidate people who had a right to, number one, be where they were, and two, they just automatically assumed that these guys were protesting. Now, more than likely they were, but for them to make that assumption and try to intimidate them not to exercise their right to protest, okay, that's a call that they made, and you need to make your own call as to how you feel about them. But let's continue.
You shared the stat from the FBI that in 2015, hate crimes increased 6%. But here in New York City, for instance, our police commissioner said that this year, 2016, over last year, they've increased by 30%. And that's here in New York City, which is generally thought to be a progressive haven. And we're seeing that happen all across the country. And I think when the FBI releases these stats for 2016 that consider all the time after the election, we're going to see this huge spike in hate happening all over the country, and people are being terrorized, man.
Rena, I want to go to you. We had you on our show.
Now, this next piece regarding Rena, this to me is disgusting, and it's a further indication of the Trump effect. Okay, this particular woman, a Republican now, okay, her only crime was she wasn't a Trump supporter, but she was a Republican. Check out what happened to her when she voiced her opinion that she wasn't a Trump supporter.
Earlier in the year.
Yes, much earlier.
Then all of a sudden, my folks tell me Rena can't come on again. Tell our audience why.
Much of this year, I was opposed to Mr. Trump's candidacy. I've been a lifelong Republican. I just did not feel that he was a Republican. I didn't feel he earned my vote. And so I spoke out against him. I felt that he would be a threat to our constitutional order, essentially, and I remain thinking that. But I, as a lifelong constitutional conservative, I've always been somebody who's worried about any leader, whether they be state, local, federal, threatening, just these freedoms that are enshrined in our Constitution. So I spoke out on those very things, and what ensued was a slew of negative email, but really the voicemails that I got that were filled with vitriol, obscenities, calling me a Muslim. One called me an Islamic dog. I'm not a Muslim. There's nothing wrong with being a Muslim, but I'm not one. These people were assuming, based off the color of my skin and my last name, where I was coming from. They did not know that I was born and raised in southern West Virginia. I'm the proud daughter of Indian immigrants who have been extremely successful with God's grace here in the United States.
Indian immigrants, and you have two Indian Americans who've been Republican governors in Louisiana and South Carolina.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I have never really felt that Bobby Jindal represents me or my community. I just have not felt that he's been very genuine. Nikki Haley a little bit more so, perhaps.
But as a result of that, you stopped doing media appearances.
I did. I worried about my family safety. There were many threats I received. At that time, I was very much a part of the DC GOP leadership. I was removed from the executive committee illegally. I was removed as a RNC delegate, and I was elected here in the District of Columbia. I was illegally removed by the local party leaders because of my anti-Trump statements and because of...
Now, get that. She was removed illegally because she wasn't a Trump supporter. So what does that tell you about the democracy that we live in? Because she chose to voice her opinion, they chose to illegally remove her. Yeah, that's really democracy at work.
Statements that were being made about me in social media saying that I was a fraud because I owned property elsewhere. They went deep into my personal life. Breitbart News.
A common thread, Breitbart News. White supremacist attack dog, supported by Donald Trump.
A deep delve into my personal life and reported things that weren't even true. But people came after me for those very things. They said she's a Democrat plant. They didn't look at the long history I've had in the Republican Party as a young person, but it's been 10 years I've been working in Republican politics.
Spencer, we would talk about these. I mean, this is real. We saw video the day after the election of white kids in the schools walking down the halls chanting "White Power," yelling in front of Latino students, "He's going to build that wall and you're going to be sent back."
Right.
I mean, this level of hate was unleashed after those rallies, after the election, and for folks to think somehow this is going to subside. They're wrong.
Yeah, and it's important for Loretta Lynch, right, to make a statement. That's great, but she's only going to be around for another month or so, right? And the tone really is from the top, and we really need, whether it's Jeff Sessions or whether it is Donald Trump, to really be aggressive and bold and speak out in terms of ensuring that there's tolerance in the country, not basically making a space for folks to assume this is okay, this is acceptable.
Okay, how many of you think that Jefferson Beauregard Sessions III is going to speak out about hate crimes or do anything as far as prosecuting hate crimes? If you do, you are going to be in a distinct minority. Jefferson Beauregard Sessions is not going to do a damn thing other than to decimate the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department.
Well, when you listen to Loretta Lynch yesterday, follow what Spencer is saying, she quoted Louis Brandeis, Justice Brandeis, and said the most important position in a democracy is that of citizen. And, when it comes to the federal government, and certainly the Attorney General, Jefferson Beauregard Sessions III, as Spencer has said, we have some strong civil rights laws, but they're going to have to be enforced. We're not going to see him pursue hate crimes. And so, individuals can do that, private attorneys general as such, but you need resources. So you're absolutely right. And Arena, to hear that kind of type of thing going on for you and so many of us around the country, we know that's going to intensify beginning in January. Who only knows what's going to happen at the third week in January after the man's been sworn in.
And Sean, at the end, we do have to be concerned because the question is, what will a Department of Justice look like under Donald Trump? And it's not like he has truly disavowed. Sure, he gave some pretty weak statements saying, "Oh, those things shouldn't be happening in America." But people are rightfully concerned whether or not Jeff Sessions, if he is confirmed to be the Attorney General, would take these issues seriously.
Yeah, they're not going to take these issues seriously at all. I mean, if they're going to take them seriously, you'd see a pattern of that over the course of their life. And I read this beautiful story written by Ta-Nehisi Coates yesterday in The Atlantic. He even talked about, an interview he had with the Attorney General Holder, where Holder said when he came into office that the Justice Department, particularly Civil Rights Division, was a wreck. After years under Republican control, it's going to go right back to that, man. And I don't have any faith at all that we're going to see any serious prosecution of these cases. And a huge part of me is frustrated that the Obama administration has not even prosecuted some of these cases themselves, and now they're on their way out.
And one of the things that also, real quick here, Spencer, Rena, and Greg, and that is when you talk about moving forward, the Dylan Roof case, he's been tried federal hate crimes, but there have been very few federal hate crime trials, even in the last 8 years of Obama. Eric Holder said they needed to change the rules to lower the threshold, but I doubt very seriously that happens.
No, Sessoms is not going to pursue him, as Sean has said. And you look at what happened out there at the DAPL. I mean, now you're going to nominate Rick Perry to be the Secretary of Energy. He sits on the parent company that's building the pipeline. They're probably going to reverse that decision. And then who knows what's going to happen out there. And Jeff Sessions, Attorney General, is not going to go after any hate crime enhancement.
So let me just push back in terms of, I don't think we can just assume that there is going to be a monolith in terms of these entities, right? I think there are 4,000 political appointments, and it is key to get some people in the room being a part of the discussion that are for enforcing civil rights laws and ensuring that the tone of the conversation in our country is one that is inclusive.
Show me.
I disagree with him on that because just being in the room ain't shit. You got to be in a room with some power. If you have no power, you just sitting in a goddamn room with people who do have power. That's basically just window dressing and photo ops. If you're going to be in a room, you got to have the power to enact change. You have to have the power to enforce laws. And if the people that are in those positions aren't of a mind to enforce laws, to enact change, to work for the betterment of the country, all of this talk is just rhetoric.
History. No, seriously. Show me the history, Rena, of 8 years of under President George W. Bush, 4 years of President George H.W. Bush, 8 years of Ronald Reagan. Show me where that actually took
We
place.
certainly aren't encouraged by it, but let's hope that if these are people who are states' rights people, that they will push for local governance to be tougher, right? We just hope that they will give that power to the states in a way.
See, now notice what she said, okay? We got a hope, okay? Somebody about 8 years ago was talking about hope, okay? And look where we are right now. So if you're going to put your hope into hope, you got a long way to go, because based on what I see, based on the fact that Donald Trump has placed all of these people into various positions that are basically against the agencies that they've been put in charge of, based on a questionnaire that was sent out to the Department of Energy asking for the names of people who worked on climate change issues, okay? And in my opinion, that was to target them for whatever reason, either dismissal or whatever. That to me is an indication that there is going to be a massive targeting of people that disagree with whatever Donald Trump and his people have decided, and that disagreement may lead to a lot of terminations of employees in the federal government, which fits a pattern and the agenda of the GOP, because they are consistently screaming that the government is too big. Well, that would be a way for them to dramatically reduce the size of government. But notice, they believe that the defense budget is too low and needs to be increased. So you're not going to see a massive attack on the defense budget. Now, yeah, Trump has blown some smoke about a fighter jet program being too expensive, but that's just smoke and mirrors. And remember, Trump can talk that trash all he wants. It's up to the House of Representatives that creates the budget and makes determination on where the money is going to be spent within the budget that has the say so. Now, yeah, he can sign off on or veto the budget legislation, but he's not going to do that because his people are basically going to whisper in his ear that it's for the greater good, whatever Paul Ryan comes up with as far as the budget is concerned. But, you know, I digress.
Larry Thompson, I'll say Larry Thompson, certainly in the Justice Department in terms of Bush, Deputy Attorney General.
Right, he was the number 2,
yeah,
and he was over that very civil rights division that was left in tatters.
That's right.
No, I'm not saying there's always a win, right? I'm saying that you.
Well, I'm talking about wins, though. No. I don't give a damn about somebody being in the room if you're silent. So I don't care.
But I don't think Larry Thompson was silent.
As was indicated, the Civil Rights Division in the Justice Department under Bush was a goddamn disaster. So, you know, how much speaking up and power did this man wield? It appears that he didn't wield any power whatsoever.
In the room, I care about whether you're present.
Well, I agree with you.
And you got all right.
Go ahead.
I got to go to a break.
All right, so that's just a segment on hate crimes increasing in America. Donald Trump basically has given permission for the sheets to come off, and this is not going to get anything but a lot worse. And it's so bad that the Republican Party is even eating their own if you don't fall in line and give the Heil Hitler salute to Donald Trump and everything that he wants to do. I damn sure ain't going to do it, and I know a lot of people that aren't going to do it as well.